Welcome to the BAR show. My name's James Rankin and I am here with Matt Skehan, Azure Buyers Agents.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks, James. Thanks for having me, mate.
Mate, we have known each other for quite a while. I reckon it was, 2018, 2019, like definitely pre-COVID when we first started chatting. I don't even know how it came about, but I know you were working for a previous buyers agency back then, and I was trying to drag you across. I was just like, hey, come across over here. I want the insights. I want to know what it's all about over there. But before then, mate, you've had this is the second career, becoming a buyer's agent. It's the second career.
Yep.
So what were you doing prior?
Yeah, mate. So, in a past life, I was a physiotherapist. So, as I said, I did that for almost a decade. So I was sporty active. I'm a tall bugger, 6'6", got injured growing up, and I think I was 12 when I said to mum, I want to become a physio. So I didn't even know what a buyer's agent was back then. Wasn't really much around. So physio was the first love. But what led me to my change was, fell in love with property investing. So at 24, bought into the physio practice. Best thing ever, because you couldn't buy a property because, you could become self-employed. The banks say, go away. And then that was pre-podcast. So this is a little while ago now. We're talking 2008, 9, in that sort of era. So just fell into forums and, the books, the mags, and just, fell in love with it and built my own portfolio, and then decided to, change careers with a new young family and but followed my passion, mate. That was the main thing.
Yeah, and you would have been Summersoft era, not Property Chat.
Yeah, correct, mate. Yeah, Summersoft. Yeah, I was a lurker. I never really posted too much, but I used to read that. When I was still, I lived at home until I was about 26. So I was still, come home from the physio practice and just spend 2 hours every night.
I know,
reading,
right?
Just diving deep, and you go down a few tangents. But Summersoft, which is now Property Chat and stuff. So
it's funny. I always can gauge how deep people were on it, or when they started their journey. If I say Summersoft. Yep. They're like, oh, yeah, I remember those forums.
Yeah.
Forums are great. I still read forums. I just got a new car and I started reading all the forums about the car, because they still exist. The car guys just love a forum.
You can go down tangents, mate. Car for me is obviously necessary for the job, but I don't pay too much attention to it. But
the forums, I think you were born into that era of getting information, and it's just one of those things. It was good, just the lurker-ness on those forums were great. But you mentioned the physio practice, and you wanted to get in and be a physio. There are limitations with having the physio, or being a physio, right? But a lot of us, and especially people in that medical space and allied health, they're just so hell-bent on, the belief of the physio and what it can do, that it sort of blinds you from anything else. It's just, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm a physio, and you get stuck in it, right? Because it's just you earning the money.
Yeah, 100%. I had a practice. I bought in at 24 and 26. I was the manager, but I still vividly remember, mate, one day when I got because you're often hiring young staff, right? So 22 to 23, 4-year-olds. And within about space of 6 weeks, I got 3 resignations, mainly because I wanted to go travel. And it's obviously you've got to jump on the tools. And this is pre-COVID as well. Everyone couldn't come in during the middle of the day often. So you sort of be working to 8 o'clock at night or, 6 o'clock in the morning or something like. It's almost like a personal trainer. You're sort of unsociable hours. So, it's and a lot of my clients now are just at a time poor busy. They're stuck in the whir of life. Yeah. And they can't get out of it because they can't even make clear decisions because, they are working 9 to 5 or more. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. It's just unaware of other things. And because it's a commitment, right? It's not as if you can just go and get your physio license out of a Kellogg's box. It's a
very different, mate. You got to do your, for me, it was 4 years, but it wasn't 4 years because your second, third, fourth year, you're doing more than everyone else. You don't have the same holidays. You're basically in a sort of slave labor in an Austin clinical school. Yeah. You're pounding the pavement, and you got to be APRA registered, which is the regulator, and then you can't even, promote yourself with testimonials. It's craziness, some of the stuff in medical world, right?
And it's hard to get that the APRA approval as well, right? Like it's almost, might not be hard, but it's
but you've got a lot more hoops to jump. You've got to tick off so many courses. You've got firstly
CPDs and like all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Correct. Completely different to the world that I'm in now. So,
and that's like hard to let go of because it's like, shit, I've just spent 7-8 years of my life to get to this point. Now I'm earning money. Like I've bought into the practice. I've, a manager doing whatever you're doing, but you're earning what you should be as the physio. It's hard to like go and bin it all, just like literally bin it all and go into something new. But your journey sort of took you down that road of, doing the self-education, and now you've bought a couple of properties yourself, like as the physio.
Yeah, so as a physio, the wife and I accumulated half a dozen properties, so 6 properties through 2011 to 16. Probably a little bit easier than now because your finance was a little bit easier. We went pretty hard with some LMI stuff or waivers and stuff. That's where I fell in love with it. I used an advocate myself in 2013 for a first investment outside of Vic in Randwick and in Sydney, sorry. And that was just thought this is a cool job, and that was really planted the seed because in 2016 I remember doing the PIPA course for the QPIA, Qualified Property Investment Advisory sort of course, whatever it's called. And that was the seed that planted for me to change because physio, I think I always knew at some point I was going to change. I was going down to study medicine, get into surgery and stuff, but I'm honestly really happy because the flexibility this entails is awesome. You've got to having a young family and just you work the hours, but it's a great job. So. Yeah.
And then when did you flick into the BA space?
Yeah, so full time in 2017.
2017.
Yeah, so about midway through 2017. So I worked I started at a large investment buyers agency. So it was about May, I think, and I did a part-time split for about 2 months, and then had a wedding in Bali, and then came back full time, and physio was done, and it was a big transition. So.
And was that a pretty clean cut? Like it sold? Did you would have had shares still? In that business?
I still had some shares from memory, but I sold them at 6 months later. So I had a stage sale because I had 2 physios that bought me out. Yeah. So that I mentored over the journey.
So the PIPA program that you did that as a physio.
Yeah. So when I was obviously was things like I wasn't around when I was doing this, so there wasn't really much. And I probably didn't feel confident enough at the time to start my own business. And so I was sort of, looking for opportunity. And to be honest, most people, the standard answer was, you're not from the traditional pathway, I don't really want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. But I had a few people who extended an olive branch, had a coffee or two. And, I had someone recommend to me to do that course that would help. So I did it, and I did it in about 2 months, I think, smashed it out. That's my personality. It's, you learn bits and pieces, but I think, I learn a lot by the forums and by doing your own stuff. Work. Yeah, doing it as well, right? But still a lot to learn. But
yeah, and that's it. Like I've done that PIPA course as well, and I think it's changed now. But back then it was like you pretty much were able to do an SOA, like a statement of advice. Like that was their whole thing. Yeah. It was really financial planning based. Yep. But as you said, it's like there wasn't anything out there, right?
It was just giving you some credibility and just as a little point of difference, I suppose, makes yourself serious and got me a job, got me an opportunity, and got me into the industry full time. So as I said, it's changed a lot now. That's almost makes me feel old, but that's almost a decade ago, right?
Yeah, I know. It's
in
crazy.
2016, 17, like that is a decade next year. So that's it's a while ago. So.
Nuts. And jumped into it full time, working in the larger firm. Yep. What did you start off doing? Like, was it?
Yeah, so I started off as an associate, like buyer's agent. So it was relatively humbling because you go from a director, manager to but it was good. Like I worked alongside ex-sales agents, like ex-valuers, and so just getting immersed in the industry day to day. Mm-hmm. So and that was great. So it was meant to be sort of a 12, 18-month apprenticeship, but I think by the end of that year, so it was sort of 9 months, there was an opportunity. So, but I stayed in that role for circa 9 months, maybe give or take.
And early 30s.
Early 30s. Yeah, so my son was born in 16, so I would have been right in the early 30s.
Yeah. So that is like a sort of a humbling experience, as you said, like just a bit of a wake up. Hey, you're almost this person's slave for 9 months.
Yeah.
And what did that look like in terms of the role that you were doing?
Yeah, so it was sort of just a bit of really mixed and varied, right? Like it was obviously just helping with, searching, shortlisting, and the inspections, final inspections, stuff like that. So it was just very varied, like a buyer's agent role is in a way. Like it was just I think it was a new role to that business at the time. So it sort of evolved a little bit and was sort of a jack of all trades. And you're learning bits and pieces. So which again was great for me, having been a physio, to get immersed in property full time, day in, day out, and work at a business that was holistic and had a lot of different arms. I just learned a lot.
Yep.
Which is good. So.
And they were, they had volume as well. Like they were one of the, a lot of people have heard of these guys, and that I learned a lot from them as well, like just listening to podcasts and stuff that they were on. So in terms of that business, pretty good to see, like a corporate sort of entity in our space. And a lot of people don't really get to experience that, like, because there's not many big firms. Like there's not a lot of big firms in the BA space.
Yeah, no, I think I'm very fortunate, and obviously now I'm on my own thing, and I think I wouldn't, like, obviously at the moment building a few things of my own on site, but having that exposure and experience, and I was buying sort of 60 to 80 properties a year. The team was sort of about 600 when I left, so just massive exposure, agent relationships that I would never have, deals. You learn by doing, right, and seeing. And so, I'm very lucky to have that background and that reputation from that. So, I'm starting to leverage that more now. So.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like you see some larger agencies coming through now. Those guys were doing those sort of numbers back then, like nearly 10 years ago. It's crazy. Like they're sort of, as much as they're well known, flown under the radar from being this like large buyers agency. So you really cut your teeth there.
Yep.
You're doing some decent numbers, like 60 to 80 deals yourself, buying all around Australia, right? Like,
it was borderless. So I was particularly focused on Victoria and southeast Queensland at the time. Obviously, then different market, but that was we're borderless.
And then fast forward to what year did you?
Start of 22, mate.
It was 22. Yeah,
started 22. So my son was in prep. So when I started the business, so 3.5 years ago.
They're the milestones, hey? Like,
your family, my son just, he's 8 now, and 9 this year, so it sort of gives you a bit of reference point for this time. Sort of, when you're deep in the process, right? Like time sort of, it's mid-year already, so time flies pretty quickly.
I know, it's crazy. Last day of the financial year, as we're recording this, but Azure, where did the name come from?
Mate, to be honest, I was when I left, I was pretty burnt out. Had some, so I literally spent a week of just literally. So I finished up like November 21.
Yep.
And sort of then pretty soft start in sort of February of 22. And I remember just riffing, just literally writing names and names and names. But I live by the water, by Morris in Bayside, Melbourne. And long story short, just it came across like Azure, like blue lifestyle, and it's short, sharp. It's an A, and it sort of works. I love it now, so I'm really happy. But it was just a process, mate, of writing a lot of names and checking on the IP website or whatever, trademarks, or whatever. And there was
it's a good name.
Spot.
Like it is a good name, and it sticks with you, right? Like I've remembered it forever. You know what I mean? Like in terms of our conversation, it's not. You hear so many buyers agents, and I speak to a lot of buyers agents on here, and it's always like, "Hey, what's the business name again?" Because they're just out there. But I think it's a great name.
Oh, thanks, mate.
And I remember those conversations as well, like when you were sort of coming to the end and you were freaking burnt out. Like you were just
I had
done.
You don't really know till you're out of it. And then, the first year or two had some health stuff and because I'd been running hard from, all through school, as a high achiever, high level sport, worked my ass off in physio, and then you change careers. I worked up to the manager of that team inside of 5 years.
Yeah.
So I was a manager inside of about, inside of 4 years where I was before. So
that's right, because you were the head of that department.
I worked my way up to the head of the buyers agents division. So obviously you don't get there by just luck. It's the grind and the work. But obviously you sort of at some point you pay a price for that. And I had a young family as well, so you don't sleep perfectly. My kids are 5 and 8 now.
Yeah.
So it's and that's what I probably didn't appreciate. You don't. You think you can always do what you can before a kid, but there's a different balance and perspective that you get from being a father, having a family as well. So
definitely. And those first sort of months, like as you change, because the business is different, right? Like you were borderless investment.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So now just focusing on Victoria. Yeah. Because again, I don't want to be on planes at the moment. I got a young family. I said I want to be there for them, and like I love that. My son's got swimming tonight, 6:30 to 7:30. I'll be there. I might have to do a call or something, but I'm there. Like I spend a day with it's just good fun. I love it.
How good. Yeah, and it's more that flexibility, right? Like. Yeah, when you're working in another firm, another business, it's really hard. Like
I'd be on planes, and
So it had a lot of travel. That one, at least going to Queensland to check stuff out.
Yeah, correct. And even when I was in the manager, I was in Sydney and stuff, and looking at some other expansion things, and so there are definitely some travel elements to it. So
yeah, big difference, right? Like when you have total control and autonomy over your own business. So mainly focusing on Victoria, still do a bit of investment.
Yeah, 100%, mate. So that's like I literally just know I know this because I've got a CRM now and a VA, and I'm about a 50-50 split right now.
Oh, right. That's good.
Yep. Between owner-occupiers, and investors.
Yeah. Because I remember when you first started, it was probably more of that owner-occ, like buy closer to Bayside.
Well, that was one of the things I'm passionate about as well, the ex-physio and whatnot. But I suppose you learn as you start, and I've had some interesting sort of sentiment and headwinds and stuff since I started as well. So we went with Azure, so it sort of takes you a few different pathways. So.
Well, and the beauty of it being your own business, you can pivot and it evolves, right? Like you can set what you're going out to do, but what ends up happening and transpiring is...
Oh, mate, I've learned so much, and I think you probably hear that from... I just learned so much from being on my own, because even though I'd run a business as a physio, it was a franchise. I was 24 when I bought in. I had a business partner who was almost a decade older than me, so it was different. It was learn a lot of people skills, but like this is different. Creating your own business from scratch and as a buyer's agent, and I didn't have that network as well, like a brokers and things, because you silo it off where I was before. So I had to go out there and pound the pavement,
yourself.
Third month of trade, we had rate rise cycle. This is in 22. So I started off with some momentum, and then, as you know, like the rates didn't stop for 13 to 14 months. No one wanted to touch Victoria with a barge pole, thanks to various policies. So it was, but now I'm benefiting from it. Like I feel like I'm ready to really, really grow, because we've got some great foundations, and everything's been, you've had to work for it. But that's
if you started in that period and you've survived that period.
Yeah, so I've done. I think I've got a good mentor business, got a few good mentors, and they say, "Mate, you've done really well." And one of my sales agents in my area says, if the agents are starting to boom, never last.
Yeah,
if you're starting a tough market, you've sort of got to build the good habits, systems, and processes. And I feel like we're just starting to, like, the last quarter for me has been phenomenal, and my as I said, setting up really well for the future growth, really. So it's
so true, right? Like I've seen, and you would have seen, like lots of agents throughout that period of time. Yeah, they'd come and go.
Mate, heaps. Like, we're talking sales agents, or
sales agents.
Mate, they'd chop and change. So like the weather, mate. It's tough. It's a tough game, right?
Definitely a tough game.
I probably underestimated it myself, even going out on my own. I thought, I know my stuff, and I do, but you can't sell a secret, as I say, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to get out there. It's a completely different skill set to build a business as well. So.
Yeah, 100%. And where did you mainly start from, a like referral business, or where did you get your first leads?
Yeah, so when I first started, I had a little bit of momentum because I had a bit of reputation and things, but then that dried up quickly. So it's mainly been networking. Then brokers is probably, because I say property is a game of finance, so you obviously got to go to upstream to find those leads, right?
Yeah.
That's probably been where I've really pounded the pavement, and but I've done a ton of networking and learned a lot from that, and starting to now really find my niche and my that gap that I think I can service. And because I remember getting asked, "What's your USP at networking?" And I think it probably took me 3 years to really identify that, because I was siloed before. I didn't know. I don't know what everyone else is doing, right? But you just meet enough people, and enough people tell you it. I've got. And that sort of helps you to have a bit more clarity of where to go.
So what is the USP now?
Oh, mate, I'm about to drop a new website, hopefully pretty soon, actually. So we're working on that as we speak. So brand new. My current website it's got stock imagery, Squarespace from 3.5 years ago. We're investing heavily in a new website, but ex-physio, it's a trusted advisor, mate. Being that trusted advisor, and I think there's a real gap for serving that time-poor, busy professionals. Like I do really well with your type A sort of, your management consultants I was speaking to out of Dubai the other week. And just that, I live in an area that's $2 million median house price. So trying to get into that sort of space more and more, and obviously then helping them to invest and, wanting to get into the commercial advocacy as well, because that's what I get asked about all the time. There's a bit of blue ocean out there. So
100%.
So mate, I think there's a huge gap out there. So I've got probably the last 6 months, I've got, the first 3 years, again, my daughter just started, prep this year. And I think there's just all those things are starting to fall into place from the home life, a bit of stability there. We're catching up a bit of life admin and a bit of clarity in the business, and just all that work on yourself, you start to get a bit clearer picture. So.
And you were there for a lot of those moments as well, like those milestones.
It's been great. As I said, like we took out money when we went out my own. So we've had money. We were able to renovate the family home back end of last year, even though it probably caused a little bit of stress because, as you know, it cost a bit more. And then business was a bit, because I was trying to do 8 things at once in the business and probably could have only managed 4 or 6. But mate, it's fantastic. I've been there, and I often drop them off 3 days a week to school because my wife works 3 days, unless I've got a networking breakfast. But you're there, mate. I might miss my son plays soccer on a Saturday because it's being a buyer's agent. It's a bit tricky, but the plan is to grow a team, and I'm not going to be on the tools, forever. And in terms of that way. So definitely got a clear picture. So.
And what is that next phase? Like, you sort of built the foundations.
Yep.
Everything's sort of falling into place. What does it look like? What do you want to do with Azure?
Mate, good question. It's still, I've been using a bit of ChatGPT for this, actually, a bit of strategic stuff. I did a course on that a few weeks. I probably wasn't a very good user of it. But like in the short term, mate, like I said, I've got to finish off the fin year now. Off to the Gold Coast for a week, school holidays, refresh, recharge. But the immediate plan is, hiring 2 people before the year's out. So we're going to have 1 associate buyer's agent to sort of take on that investment side, and then get an EA in the business. But yeah, I've got, a pretty, after that, I want to grow, mate. So get into next year into the commercial side of things and really build out a bit of a team. So probably looking at that sort of 4 or 5 mil space as a rev level. That's sort of the most recent sort of still work in progress, mate. But
work in progress.
But that's sort of what I'm chasing. So
and that I guess shift into more the employment side, is that really just to grow, earn more money, or is it buying back a bit more time?
Mate, time. Yeah, time. I know it sounds a bit odd, but I said I got a team meeting today. I got 2 team members at the moment, and I don't. If my business coach would attest, like I'm not just drilled by the numbers. Like that's not what motivates me. It's helping people. It's my 114 Google reviews that excites me more. Yeah. Obviously need money to live and stuff, but it's just time, mate. It's bound to go away with the kids, and we've already booked 5 nights in Bright into the grand final. So it's having breaks, and the great thing about my job is it follows the seasons in the school term as well. Yes. So my quietest times are often when the kids are around. So time is everything, mate. Because the money follows you, right? Like I think if you do it for the right reasons, it's a $14.1 trillion industry, right? There's so much opportunity out there. So I think I've worked hard to sort of change that mindset. You've got to have that abundance mindset, otherwise you shouldn't be doing this, right? So.
Well, yeah, 100%. And it's I find that people do get into that conundrum and they are chasing that money, like because you can earn good money in this business.
Oh,
right?
mate,
like,
yeah,
you can definitely.
It's a great industry. I love it. But yeah, as I said, I'm earning more than I was in Physio land, and that's I got a ridiculous ATAR, and it's 4 years. Like it's craziness, right? I have such gratitude and appreciation for Like my wife's a pediatric physio at the hospital, and like it's nuts, mate. How underfunded, how overworked they are, underpaid and underappreciated. It's craziness. So yeah, we're very lucky. Yeah.
Did she ever go into the business?
Mate, I've asked her, but I'd have her yesterday.
Yeah,
but it's not her jam, mate. So which is fine. And it's, I'm probably ultimately a good thing anyway to separate business.
I'm the same.
And family, mate. So that's fine. There's plenty of I've got sort of that's fine. So.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% on the same page with you. Yeah. My partner's very much. Yeah. She would be 10 times better buyer's agent than me. Like she'd just walk over me, and in sales and all of that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, just not her jam, and she wants her own thing, separate from it.
There's plenty of people out there who want to do it, so you just got to find the right people on the bus. And
exactly,
I'm not trying to have 100 people in this business. It's just a good team, and it's fine.
Yeah, and so you mentioned time back in your diary. So what would it be like? You'd sort of try to get rid of Saturdays. Like, is that a goal or?
Yeah, absolutely. In the long term, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because my son, he said he's growing up, and my daughter is, 5, so she hasn't got into the organised sport just yet. But already I'm missing a bit of soccer. He said to me on the weekend, you might want to have a crack at AFL. I played VFL, did AFL so I love that. I want to be there as they grow up, and so for me that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like obviously I don't mind being on the phone and stuff, and I'm sure I'll probably still be an auction or two here and there, but having that flexibility and and I think it's taken me a while to understand that, and that to really have a business you need to leverage the team. I've invested heavily in leadership training as a physio, a part of the franchise. We did heaps of that stuff, so I'm able to start to, I suppose, cash in on that a little bit and start to leverage that people skills that I've built over a long time to start to now leverage what I do and know, right? Not just trade my time, even though it's much better than the physio game. You're still trading time for money. If I don't work right now, there is no income, right? So
this is it, and it's. I was saying this today on an Everest call with some of our guys, just to pay themselves, like make sure that they are paying themselves out of the business, because the value of the business is not great. Like as a buyer's agent, if you take yourself out of it, it doesn't earn any money, right? So the actual value, if you were to sell it, say, it doesn't have much of a value. But what we can do is take that money out, so we can earn good money and put it into other things, like going and buying more property or whatever it is that you want to go and do. So yeah, that is the important part of it. But when you get to this ability to buy back some of your time, through staffing and whatnot, and release you from those on the tool things that you've been doing for 10 years, it can be pretty life changing, to be honest. Like if you're able to substitute that was probably one of the biggest things for me. Having been in the space prior to be a buyer's agent, I'd been working Saturdays and Sundays for like 15 or probably 5 years prior to becoming a buyer's agent. And it was the quickest thing I wanted to get off my desk. As much as I enjoy going to open homes and seeing agents and all this kind of stuff, 2-day weekend was glorious.
Oh mate,
like
yeah.
getting to that point. But it does come with time. So like I know there's a lot of new buyers agents that listen to this podcast, and also people that are coming into it. It is part of the job. Like it's 100% part of the job, like doing the Saturdays.
100%, mate. And I think it's amazing how many I still do it now. For example, like the other week I blasted out, we've got a CRM, built everything, right? I got the systems ready to go, but agents don't always respond to emails, but you get top of mind, you're front, and I'm getting opportunities. And it's amazing how often they say, oh yeah, buyers agents don't even come out on Saturday. Like it's just nuts, right? So it's up to you, right? If you want to work harder, if you want to build relationships, rapport, because ultimately that's what I've done for a long time now. So I got those relationships, we can then leverage that. But at some point, you've got to do the work. You've got to put in the work, mate. It's like reps in the gym. You can't just want the body or the health. You've got to do it. Yeah. You've got to put in the work, right?
It's crazy that you mentioned that, like buyers agents aren't coming out on the weekends. Because if I heard that, I'd be like, shit, I'm not working Friday.
You hear it regularly, from agents. Like there's, and right now there's some real, just buying off videos, not inspecting stuff.
Especially Frankston Pocket, right? Like that's probably where you'd get more exposure to on the investment side.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interstate buyers agents.
Oh mate, there's some cowboy stuff going on, but as I said, for me, it's just you got to be a point of difference, because ultimately, our industry it's exciting, it's growing, but as I said, we don't always have the best reputation with agents sometimes.
Well, you're definitely cut from the same cloth as me. Maybe it's like an era thing, you know what I mean?
Mate, but older.
Well, yeah, and it's just I don't know, like. I say this to people, I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't just buy sight unseen. Like it's a
huge reputational risk as well. Yeah. I think it's all good till it's not good, right? So like it can be all fine. And then if something, you get the wrong client, the wrong situation, and it's your reputation, right? Yeah. Like as I said, we're playing with a lot of money. So I think ultimately if you make one mistake, it's not hard for someone to make your life and your business, it can be it's not worth it.
And it's being around the block a few times as well. Like you've seen a lot of shit.
Oh mate, shit can go wrong. Real estate's covered empty. Or buyer, be aware. There's money, and human nature and psychology is if shit goes wrong, people look for someone to blame, right?
Yeah.
So, and ultimately, if you've given potentially poor advice because you haven't inspected it, and like it's a risk, right? You're playing with fire.
Yeah.
So at some point, you're probably going to get burnt. It's reality.
And it's when we're in these growth periods, like I feel.
Yeah, this year's been so different. Like for me, like first 3 years was tough. Like the phone wasn't ringing, but since February, it's inquiries gone off the charts. But you got to be careful because it's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And then if ultimately right now I'm being served because of that repeat already, and even in Zoo I've got a client out of Hong Kong who's a brother of someone I've already bought for him. That's not the first one already, only 3 years old, and that just compounds, right?
Yeah.
But if I took shortcuts and just got a quick deal and quick win, it's like those sales agents, mate, that don't last, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a reputational game. So.
Yeah, exactly right. And if you are playing that long game, like I'm going to be here for.
Yeah, it's almost like I think it was at Matty Steinway. Those guys say it like, it's almost impossible to beat you because if you're just committed to the process and the long term, pretty much most of the world's geared towards short term or immediate gratification. So if you're playing the long game, you're almost going to win, right? Because everyone else is going to fall off along the way, right? So.
Yeah, 100%. On the investment side, like what markets are you seeing, sort of around Victoria that you're interested in?
And in what way? Sorry, what?
Just like from just an overall like regional perspective that, you're seeing like a lot of movement.
It's this year, the best time to buy was like October, November, December last year. Like Melbourne, because obviously you know from people all over the country, like, Perth's median exceeded Melbourne's recently, which is really unusual. Like Brisbane, because I speak to advocates in different states regularly because I've got some good contacts just to keep my finger on the pulse. So Melbourne's just affordable right now. But it won't stay like that forever. But it's woken up from, the dictator Dan days, like a lot of negative, like property is simple, mate, supply, demand and sentiment.
Yeah.
Like sentiment has stunk in Victoria. People are still concerned about, taxes and stuff, but it's really woken up, and that sub 1.2 is pretty competitive. Like this, so I'm trying to do as much as I can off market, but I'm tapping into those relationships that are almost a decade old. Which is you need to. Otherwise,
well, you just get lost, right?
Or you're just competing, mate. I see stuff that people buy on socials, and I'm like, that's overpriced. That's average asset, but right now it's fine.
Yeah,
everyone wants the rising tide lifts all ships, but then you realize in time that's if that's a B or C grader.
Yeah,
your client's going to know that.
Yeah, it's when we get into it. And I knew you were going to say that phrase because I remember I was talking to you about something probably 3 years ago, and you said that exact phrase, like rising tide. I
always saw it. I saw it where I used to work, like, and I think, I think there's just that short-sighted, it's that commission breath. If you're chasing a deal, you got to be careful. So, like right now, it's a hard market for me to buy for my investors. It's hard work, but I'm happy to do the work because if I do the right thing, like I'm already getting repeat referral business from those people, and the assets are going to hold up. But you got to be careful because some of the stuff people buy is pretty average stuff. So
and it's the perfect storm at the moment, right? Like that 1.2 and below, you said.
Yeah, it's just competitive.
Yeah, because you've got first home buyers,
you
got investors, and you got downsizers.
You got
it's like the whole
super
lot.
fun. You got like every man their dog.
Yeah,
so it's affordable. Melbourne's median's about 940 at the moment. So, which relatively is quite affordable across the country. I was speaking to Advocate up in, Brisbane the other week, and 800 is almost looking at apartments now, unless you're in the boondocks, and which is in 800 in Melbourne, you can still get a house, and that's why people are coming here.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
Yeah, it blows my mind that the media, and yes, there is a tax, there's this the land tax and like all that shit.
I get sick of that land tax because I often ask the question. The next question I ask is, "What do you know how much land tax you're going to pay?"
Yeah,
and most people don't.
They've got no idea.
It's just rhetoric, mate. It's just sentiment. It's just fear mongering. The news fear sells, right? So it's land tax, but like often that's just, I sort of.
It's such a small number, like when you consider what the potential is.
Yeah.
So people that got over that, and I've been pitching this for a long time, especially in the Everest group. I said, anyone that's wanting to buy in Melbourne, whoever can come up with this, like overcome rather this land tax thing, you will clean up. Like you'll clean up. And those that did buy back September, October, last year.
You're already sitting on, depends, 70 to 80, maybe 100 grand, right?
Exactly.
Significant equity already, right? And those clients are going to be brand ambassadors because they're in the early part of the cycle. That's the dream, right? So,
yeah. And where like if you sort of tap out of Victoria, right? Like, and we've had to deal with it for the last 3 years, like when it wasn't this, tasty sort of market to move into.
It hasn't been, mate. It's only this year. Like it's been on the nose for the whole time. Most of the time I've been in my own business.
Yeah. And like that's going to move pretty quickly. I'd say, especially the Melbourne market, much like Sydney, as soon as people get that little bit extra to spend, they'll go and spend it, right? Like, so if you go, we get an interest rate cut,
which
frees up serviceability, people can spend more money. Let's just say it's an extra $20,000, $30,000. So it goes 800, 820, 830, like goes really quickly. When those markets tap out, like what trends are you sort of following to get to that next opportunity?
For
just the investors. So yeah, if you said, let's just call it Frankston North sort of taps out, which is crazy.
I haven't bought in Frankston North yet, but yeah, it's crazy what they're going for, mate. Some of those ex-commission ones.
It's nuts.
Staggering. It's staggering. They've still got chain link fences and Commodores and blocks there. But
it's wild.
Yeah.
So, an example like that where where that might tap out, what are you looking to find next?
I've already opened up some new markets. Sorry, I understand your question now. So I've already done it because I said I'm following is obviously a few data sources people are following, and chatting to agents so I've already started opening up new markets. I have in the last few months. Yeah, because it just becomes, because I know these areas pretty well. Like I've born and bred in Melbourne. Played VFL footy at Frankston back in 2005-06, where you might have got stabbed when you.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd have to have a knife in your back pocket.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I was scared, mate. I was getting out there, so it's still a bit, but yeah. So no, good question, mate. I've already changed, pivoting a bit. Yeah. So where I have been buying, I've already pivoted a bit. Yeah, so and just because of affordability and whatnot. So
you'll sort of push that ripple as much as possible, and then those ripples they'll have a limit. So you might get, if you're talking about Frankston, it might sort of go to Coringal, Langwarrin, Cranbourne, but then it's sort of, I don't know, it might sort of hit this.
Yeah, there's not too much once you go past like you sort of go around. There's not too much around there.
Yeah, it sort of stalls.
You got to be careful because there's areas like Clyde, which you don't want to get into, and House and Land. As you know, the supply stuff you got packing them. So you got to be a bit careful around your supply demand metrics as well. Then
you flick region, right? Like so, you might go, and that's the thing. And I've said this in.
And Melbourne's big too, right? Like you still got the north side. You've got obviously the west side. You could classify whether that's Melton's in Melbourne or I think it's outside, but there's different areas. There's regionals, like you've got Geelong, Ballarat, Bendigo. You've got down Terrell. Victoria's a big and populous state, right? Yeah. Melbourne will be the most populous city because obviously it's got the ability to sprawl out.
Yeah.
Sydney's geographically constrained. Brisbane's got its own issues. It's already sprawling. So, Melbourne's got a fair bit of room to grow, particularly out the west, which is flat. Yeah. So,
yeah, and I think that's what has inhibited it a little bit.
100%.
The median price, again, it's kind of good marketing for us, but
as you know, mate, it's not that accurate, right? That's the thing, you go to Frank. Okay, we'll talk about Frankston because everyone's talking about Frankston at the moment. But then I bought one in Frankston South for an occupier, and the median, where I bought on the border, it was actually a Frankston postcode, but the last street of Frankston. Mm-hmm. In that immediate area, there's $1.7 million sales. Yeah. I bought something 900 that needs some work. But there's upside there, right? In these areas, you've got Mount Eliza and postcodes. So, there's a bit of skewing because Frankston's in my opinion, is 8, 9, 10 different areas, right? And you've got 40,000+ houses. So the median data is almost irrelevant.
It's so relevant.
It's so relevant. But that's where a good advocate understands that because median data gets a bit skewed. Yeah. Because as you know, and even this current market, what I'm seeing a lot of is, there is the deaf sales. There's a lot of divorce. There is I was in Seaford on the weekend and it was I haven't seen this for a while, literally a bank sale.
Wow.
With the boards up there, 10% on the day, 30 days, done.
No way.
So there's a bit of that around. So, and that skews data points.
Yeah.
Because if you can, most people are holding, mate, because they know rates are going to go down. Mm-hmm. And people have more borrowing, they know they spend more.
Yeah.
So I think you got to be careful because, as you know, people hold on to the good stuff and they wait for the times. And so there's just data points that So that's where a good advocate got to cut through the noise, the data. You can't just buy off your CoreLogic or AVMs or whatever because they're highly inaccurate.
Yeah.
At the best of times, right?
So. Totally inaccurate. So as we round out, I always ask this question, you're a buyer's agent, you've been in the space for quite a while. If you're walking down the street people will notice you because you're 6'6", and they're like, "Hey, Matty, like, I want to become a buyer's agent."
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
What would I tell them? First thing would be asking, why. I think it's got to have. If you have the right intentions and if you love it, like I think you've got to love, because we're in the property game. But you got to love people first and foremost, right? Love people, because that's what it is. Like the best sales agents, as you probably know, are people person. So I think if you love it, and I'd say have a crack. It's a great career. I love it, mate. Like I get to spend a lot of time at cafes. I'm on the road in my rolling office. You get your vitamin D in, mate. You're just talking people. I love what I'm talking about. So it's I literally love what I do. Not many people can say that. So,
very true.
I think if you're passionate about it, I've taken a few big risks, and in hindsight, and other people might think they're big, but I think when you're in it, it just seems like a natural evolution, mate. But it's I think sometimes you've got to have a crack, right? Take a risk. What's the worst thing? So.
That's it. And key, like, what's been one of the key to your success? You know what I mean? Like, was it relationships? Was it, being pretty good at understanding data points? Like, where do you feel?
I think first and foremost, work hard. I think work rate's really important. And good at building relationships, rapport. I think being a physio for 10 years, yourself or anyone could come into my practice. I'd try and find common ground, find that common interest. And I think that's important for building relationships with my clients and the referral partners. Yeah. Because it's a relationship game, as you know, right? Because there's always I put my old physio hat on. There's heaps of physios out there. There's different doctors or surgeons, but it's the ones that have got the good ability to talk to you, educate you, guide you. They're the ones that are busy. Yeah. And have got a great reputation, because that's the key. Yeah.
I would say from knowing you that your recollection on people's names, like, you're really good at.
I've got a bit of a photographic memory, so I try and keep that low key, but it helps, mate.
Mate, like amazing with that sort of recall, which you can obviously pull up conversations as well that you've had with people. So
it helps, mate. There's a lot to consume, right? As an advocate and whatnot, there's all these different websites and stuff, and I'm a reader. Yeah, have my coffee and read the paper, the business stuff, AFR, whatever. Yeah. About to go on holiday, got a few books to read, and
lifelong learner, right?
Yeah. And I think if you can recall that when you're talking to people, you build trust, right? Because knowledge builds trust. So.
That's it, mate. Thanks so much for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Cool.